Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Morning Coffee with Sandy from the Rocky Mountain state of Colorado. I'm so disappointed that the lighting is like this in here because I want you to see who's behind me. Let me see if I can. Don't you think it's important to start every day with your very own unicorn? This guy is mine for now. Say good morning. Yeah. Start your day with a sip of smile and a unicorn, right? Yeah. Hey. I'm doing great here. I'm having a wonderful time celebrating my friend Lynn's 70th birthday, meeting her friends for the first time, seeing her children who I'm Auntie Sandy, seeing her grandchildren who are absolutely magnificent. Isn't it funny how just being around a smiling child makes you smile? Oh, inadvertently, I have given you a hint at today's word art. We'll come to that later. Let's see what's going on. It's kind of dark in here. I need my glasses and my unicorn. Let's see. Today's Baseball Fans Day. Is this baseball season? It is, isn't it? Don't you usually play baseball during the summer? I think so. I like the Dodgers and I like the White Sox and I like the Red Sox and I like whatever team is playing, I guess. I don't know. The game is so different than it used to be, for me at least. It seems to be a faster game with more rules, doesn't it? Kind of. It used to be such a lazy day game, eat some peanuts, scream and yell. If you're a Dodger fan, you do the wave. Does everybody do the wave now? I don't know. It looks like I have no chats again. Um, I should have just picked it up on my phone too. So, good morning to those of you who are here. And I'm really, really, really sorry that I can't answer you because unless you text me now, I'm not going to see your comments. All right. Now, what's important to me today is it is Middle Child Day, and I am a middle child. I have a younger brother, I have an older brother. Now, I would assume, and if Dr. Ron was here with me, if Indy was here with me, he could tell you what that whole thing is all about. But I'm middle child, but I'm also the only girl. So I have to assume that that makes a difference too. But I love being the only child because I could always watch my older brother to see what I should and shouldn't do. And I could always blame my little brother for whatever went wrong. Being a middle child is awesome. Yeah, you learn from the mistakes of the older ones and you blame your mistakes on the younger ones. So, happy Middle Child Day to all of you who are middle children. Yeah, it is National Sewing Machine Day. So, Indy has a sewing machine. I mean, I had one years ago, but I haven't had one in years. But Indy still has one and he knows how to use it, but I had to go somewhere else to get a lesson on how to thread it. So I did. After a tennis game one day, I played at someone's house and she said, "Oh, I can show you how to do that." And we had like a little lesson on the sewing machine. And if I was at home, I would be showing you. I recovered my dining room chairs and I made pillows to match them with the material that was left. That sewing machine is a really cool thing. Singer, it's a Singer. And the reason it's National Sewing Machine Day is because, yes, here it is. In 1851, Isaac Singer got the patent for his sewing machine. But he wasn't the only one who ever did a sewing machine. There were also white sewing machines. And my friend Godbobby, Michael's godmother, Godbobby lived in a place that had a name. She's the only friend I ever had who lived in a house that had an official name. It was called the White House, not in Washington, in Redlands, California. And it was this magnificent old giant house. I always called it a mansion. The grounds were amazing. And the groundskeeper, the man and woman who like took care of the house for them, their house was bigger than mine. It was awesome. John John, I don't know if you're out there watching this morning, but I'm talking about the house you grew up in. It's called the White House, and it was wonderful. And it had these delightful old shutters, and it was built by whatever the guy's first name was, who invented the white sewing machine. Yeah, also a big deal. What else? It's truck driver day. Yeah. You know what the funnest thing is when you're on the road taking a trip? I don't know if they still do it, but I used to like to drive right up alongside a truck driver and go like this. And that was their clue to pull their horn like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, go do that. That's so fun. Truck drivers, I mean, come on, they're on the road all the time. They want a little something fun to do. This is my love mug, by the way. Check it out. It's love. Yeah. It's, my thing about got to have something on both sides. So no matter which hand you hold it in, you can see something fun. Vinyl Records Day. You are old enough to remember vinyl records, right? I remember my parents had my grandparents had 78s, and they were like hard plastic. Some kind of plastic, but really hard. And I mean, like you could take it and go smash and crack it. And then my parents had 33 and a third, which were also, they were a little bit bigger, but they were much thinner, and they were kind of a bendable plastic 33s. Those were albums, right? Yeah. And then when I was a kid, we had 45s, about this big, with a big round hole in the middle, so it could sit on this special contraption that went on your phonograph. Yes, boys and girls, there was a thing called a phonograph that played records. And then we got really into the space age, and we got 8 tracks, and then 4 tracks, and then 8 tracks, and then cassettes. Oh my God, when cassettes came out. And then finally we got into DVDs, and now we just download the music. It's mind-blowing, don't you think? And think of all the money that you spent over the years going from one kind of music to another. Yeah. We'd all be rich today. And some of you are. It's also World Elephant Day. Where did the elephants go? That was one of my songs in a show called 70 Girls 70. How appropriate for Lynn's 70th birthday. And yours if you're 70. Yeah, you're not supposed to point when you're doing a video, because apparently you think I'm being mean. I'm not being mean. You are special. That's why I'm pointing at you, because I mean you. You're special. Happy birthdays today. Happy birthday to Jane Wyatt. She died in 2006. She was born in 1910. You probably don't even recognize the name, but I do every time I hear it, because she was Robert Young's wife. On Father Knows Best. She was the mom. She was like the mom. She was just always so sweet and understanding. She never lost her temper. Yeah, she was the biatch that made us feel bad when we became mothers, because we couldn't be happy all the time. Sorry, did I lose control there for just a moment? But it's true, isn't it? I mean, in the 1950s, there was Father Knows Best, and there was the Donna Reed show. I mean, that is the kind of childhood I had, sort of. I mean, I remember it that way. But those parents never got angry. They never got upset. They always just explained things calmly. Yeah, right, whatever. Cecil B. DeMille. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille. Yeah, famous director. George Hamilton, famous for his tan. Pete Sampras, the tennis player, he grew up in Palos Verdes, California, where I grew up. Did I know him? No. Was he way younger than me? Yes. But I think he went to Rolling Hills High School, maybe Palos Verdes, but he grew up right where I grew up. But you know who else has a birthday that lived in Rolling Hills? And I know you heard of this guy. Parnelli Jones, the race car driver. I like to say it's his fault that I drive the way I do. Yeah. And Yes, I had met him because when I was in the balloon business, we did parties at his house. Anyway, Parnelli Jones, happy birthday. He was born in 1933. Yeah, I don't know what his status is. Can't tell you. In 1879, the first archery tournament was held in Chicago. Archery. Now, there's a lost skill, huh? But oddly enough, speaking of Palos Verdes, where I went to high school, we were required to take golf, was never my strong suit, tennis, which I didn't fall in love with until like 40 years later, and archery, which seriously, all archery ever did for me, seriously, ever did for me, was get me these twang marks on my arm, you know, where you'd pull it back and then you'd twang it, and the twanger thingy would hit your arm, and you'd be covered with black and blue marks for that whole quarter or however long you had to be taking archery. I didn't like archery, but it was really fun to hit the mark. I'll tell you that. Yeah, but I'd rather be using those darts, the magnetic darts. Yeah, I feel much safer using magnetic darts. I think archery is a scary sport. But for those of you who are good at it, more power to you. I kind of think of it like sword swallowing. Not my thing, you know? Yeah, not that. What else? Today is the day that Thomas Alva Edison in 1879 invented the phonograph. But there were no records. So what the heck did he invent a phonograph for? Actually, the first, what they called records, were like tin foil that they had a lot of folds in. Yeah, those were the first records. Yeah, why invent something that there's nothing? It's like a phonograph? What's that? What do you do with it? Yeah, there's no records. I don't know. That must have been a very frustrating time for Thomas Alva. Yes. Okay, it's also happy birthday. Oh no, it's happy death day. Okay, it's not happy death day, but it's death day for one of my favorite famous authors of all times, Ian Fleming. Yes. He wrote the whole James Bond series, or at least the ones up until he died, which was in 1964. I think the books were way better than the movies, but then I usually think the books are way better than the movies. I think Ian Fleming was actually the real Bond, James Bond, who liked his martinis shaken, not stirred. Of course, if he hadn't written the James Bond movies, I wouldn't have fallen in love with Sean Connery. I did tell you I met him, right? Another close encounter of the first time that is absolutely unforgettable to me. They were screening some movie he did, and he was a guest at the screening. And there were only like 50 of us there, and we got to watch the movie and then meet him at the screening. Thank you to my friend who was part of this group that was lucky enough to get to meet him. And I got to meet him, and he was as gorgeous, and that voice in person as on the screen. I mean, he was really something. You're missed, pal. You're missed. Merv Griffin died today in 2007, and he was, you know what, he was a game show host, but way beyond that, he was a producer and a very, very wealthy man. And for those of you who are still watching Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, bam, he created those shows. Yeah, that guy was not a man. He was a gold mine. He was okay. And then, of course, Lauren Bacall. I mean, she's a classic. She passed away in 2014, but her memory lives on. Isn't that what we all want? Is to do something that makes us immortal in some way. I'm happy to just live on in the hearts of those I touched. That's my plan. If I touched you, I got you. Bam! That's my plan. Personal computers from IBM came out in 1981. That's pretty recent, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, there were other kinds of computers before that. I remember my father talking about working on this. There's something OVAC machine, Rainovac, Aerovac. See, if Indy was here right now, he'd be Googling this and he'd say to me, it was called the, or if I could read your chats, I'd have it up there. Anyway, it was this computer, and it like literally took up an entire room. Yeah. Not a little laptop that I can carry on the airplane with me and then talk to you every morning across the globe. It's pretty exciting. Hey, in 1982, Alice Cooper's song, School's Out for Summer. Yeah. It reached #1 in the country. Yeah. Oh no, in the UK, not in our country. Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper, who always looked like it was Halloween, right? Like that was a scary guy. And he was like loud and crazy and fun. And I remember when my daughter worked at Rhino Records, she got to be his escort for the day when he came to kind of walk around and talk to the people there because they were doing music of his. And she said he was just delightful. But he was always like so scary looking, right? I mean, he always looked like some kind of monster out of a cartoon. Well, about 5 Halloweens ago, maybe 4, Fritzy was still living with me. She wasn't in a home yet. She might have had a little dementia, but she was just so cute. Anyway, about 5 years ago, Alice Cooper was going to be playing at the local casino, like right around Halloween time. And I thought, what a fun show that's going to be. And I got 2 tickets. And yeah, I know you're not going to believe this, but Fritzy was like 93 at the time. I took Fritzy to see Alice Cooper. She loved it. I don't mean liked it. She loved it. She was the rockinest person in that place. And people were around us. They spent more time watching Fritzy, I think, than watching Alice Cooper because she was so clearly having such a great time. I don't know where they are, but somewhere I have pictures that everybody wanted their picture taken with her. Everybody wanted to talk to her because she's this adorable little old lady who is screaming and yelling and clapping and yeah, Fritzy. Fritzy liked boxing and she liked Alice Cooper. I don't know if she still does. I don't think she'd remember too much about Alice Cooper, but I'll ask her when I get back to LA and back to the desert, I mean. Okay. Let's talk about today's word art, could we? Yeah. Today's word art is very special to me because you know I'm big on the smile thing. See, we put our teeth like that and we do the smile thing to let people know that we're okay. Yeah, I'm safe. You can kind of hang with me. Smiles are so important and they're so powerful. See, the human being, okay, this is our science lesson for today. Okay. Human beings are wired to mimic facial expressions. It's one of the ways we relate to people. We mimic their expressions. When someone is talking about something really sad, we look back at them like this, like with sadness. Or if they're happy, we get happy with them. But it's very hard to see somebody smiling and not smile back. You feel kind of foolish when you're doing this like on the computer and I can't even see you smiling back at me, but I know you are. Today's word art says, it's hard to smile when you have a headache. And it's even harder to have a headache when you're smiling. I'm not saying you can disappear every ounce of pain with a smile, but I am saying it's a big, massively big help. Yeah. And it's contagious. Smiles are contagious. Because we human beings mimic each other's facial expressions, if you walk down the street smiling, people are going to smile back at you. I have what I call, okay, I love this part. I have what I call resting smiley face. Yeah. Even when I'm not smiling, my face is smiling. So I'll be walking down the street and strangers will talk to me and smile at me because I have resting smiling face, meaning when I am doing nothing, I'm smiling. Now, there's a reverse of that. I can't even do it, but there's this thing, and you can Google it so you know it's real. It's called resting bitch face. Seriously, Google it. If you don't believe me, Google it. Resting bitch face. You know, there's some people who just always look like they're pissed off. They can't necessarily help it. It just may be the natural way that their face sits when they're doing nothing. Yeah. I have just the opposite. Natural smiley face. Resting smiley face. That's me. So I think it's this side. This side, I have this like natural big, dimple and crease in my face. Came from my grandma. My grandma's dimples were so big. I say this all the time and it makes me smile just saying it. My grandma's dimples were so big that when she smiled, her face caved in. No kidding. That would be Fritzy's mother. Fritzy has some dimples too. Yeah. My son got my dimples. My daughter got a dimple right here, just one. We call it her Cabbage Patch dimple. It's really cute. That runs in the Schneider side of my family. Yeah, the Cabbage Patch dimple. I don't have that. So this dimple right here, yeah, there is a dimple there, but if you look really closely, I don't know if you can see it, there's actually a scar that runs down the side of my face like that. Years and years ago, I was teaching a seminar in Las Vegas on balloon decorating. And I had come up with this incredibly great idea of how to seal Mylar balloons. Now they're self-sealing, but they weren't back then. You had to figure out a way to seal it so the helium didn't escape. I figured out that instead of buying a $250 balloon heat sealer, you could just use a $5 curling iron and curl the end of it, and that would melt the Mylar together and done, right? So I am on a stage in Las Vegas with 500 people out in front of me, and I'm teaching them how to close Mylar balloons, and I hold up my hot curling iron and my inflated Mylar balloon, and I go like this. I pull it across the Mylar balloon and promptly hit myself in the face with the hot curling iron. And you can hear the whole audience go, and I didn't react. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't react at all. I just went on as if nothing had happened. But dang me, that thing hurt. And it burned. It burned. It burned. It burned. And about, 2 minutes later, I did this. Let's pause for a minute, because I know there's still a question in a lot of your minds about, didn't she just burn herself with a hot curling iron? And she didn't react. So what's that about? So here's what I want you to know. Yes, I did hit myself in the face with the hot curling iron. And yes, it did burn. And oh, yeah, it hurt. Excuse me for 1 minute. And I turned around and I screamed so loudly and it felt so good. And the laughter in that room was contagious, just like smiling. Yeah. This smile, by the way, and it's kind of annoying sometimes to me because strangers stop me to ask for directions because I look so safe. Yeah. Strangers talk to me all the time. Oh, yeah, I talk to strangers too. It's okay. Hey, that's our word art for today. I'm hoping you were here with me. I can see that there were people. Oh, there are quite a few people here today. And I don't even know who that was. So if you can, leave a message because I'm pretty sure I can see the messages after the fact. What'd you like? What didn't you like? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. My unicorn wants to know. So have a sip. For sure today, have a smile. Have a unicorn. And I'll see you tomorrow from right here in Denver. Bye-bye.